Hi friends, welcome to Zerwal Academy. You are watching my YouTube channel Zerwal Gravity. So in the last lecture we had started the first chapter from the physics from your syllabus, that is rotational dynamics, and already we had discussed about some basic topics related to the rotational motion. So today we will go in the detail about it in the syllabus of the rotational dynamics. So what is circular motion? In the last lecture we had already made the definition for circular motion. But what is circular motion? Simply the motion of a particle along the circumference of the circle is called as circular motion. When body displaces from one point to another point, then it is simply called as circular motion. What is circular motion? When body displaces on the particle displaces from one point to another point along the circumference of the circle is called as circular motion. Or simply the motion of a body along the circumference of the circle is called as circular motion. When we explain the circular motion, then we have to know about this basic term, that is radius vector. This radius vector is denoted by generally r, and the second one is the angular displacement, which is denoted by the theta. What is r, radius vector? Here the radius of this circumference or this circle is generally called as radius vector. So what is the definition for radius vector? In the examination, question may ask for 1 or 2 marks, that is what is radius vector, define its unit. What is radius vector, state its unit. So what is radius vector? What is radius vector? A vector drawn from, this is the center of circle and this is the position of the particle, this is also position of particle. The vector drawn from center of the circle to the position of the particle is called as radius vector. What is radius vector? The vector drawn from center of the circle to the position of the particle is called as radius vector. The unit of radius vector is meter or centimeter. So radius vector can be measured in meter or centimeter. The next topic is angular displacement. What is angular displacement? When body displaces from one point to another point, then the displacement of the body when it is in the circular motion, then it is measured in the form of angle, and that angle theta is called as angular displacement. And what is that angular displacement? To explain that this topic, that is angular displacement, we have to know the displacement, that is the circular displacement from A to B, it is simply ds, delta s. When the body displaces very short distance, as we know that the circle is made by the very small short straight lines. So when a particle moves very short distance, then it's said to be straight line distance. At that time, this displacement is also called as linear displacement. It is also called as linear displacement, and simply this theta can be calculated with the help of various factors. In the 10th standard, you had already learned about the theorem, that is angle is equal to circumference upon radius. Here angle is theta, circumference is delta s, and radius is r. So you can make the simple definition like this, that is theta, that is angular displacement, is called is equal to linear displacement upon r, or circumference of the circumference upon radius. So what is the exact definition for angular displacement? This is the formula for angular displacement, but what is the definition? Here, see here, this is the angle made by the two radius vectors. This is the angle made by the two radius vectors at the center of the circle and at a given time. So we can make the definition for angular displacement as the angle described by, this is the angle which is described by radius vector. So start definition from that point. The angle described by radius vector at the center of the circle in a given time is called as angular displacement. What is angular displacement? The angle described by radius vector at the center of the circle in a given time is called as angular displacement, and angular displacement is measured in the radian. We can say it in short, that is rad. The unit of angular displacement is rad, and this is about the basic about the circular motion. Now, how the circular motion takes place? When any body performs circular motion, at that time that body must have some type of force, and that some type of force is called as centripetal force. Centripetal force is the responsible for circular motion of the body. Also we know that in case of atom, electron is revolving around the nucleus. Electron is revolving around the nucleus. It is also because of the centripetal force, but in this case centripetal force is provided by the Coulomb's force, that is electrostatic force between the positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electron. So in all the cases where particle performs circular motion, it must consist of centripetal force, because the centripetal force is the necessary force to perform the circular motion. Without centripetal force, we can't do any type of circular motion. So what is meant by centripetal force and centrifugal force? Centripetal force and centrifugal force. Centripetal and this is centrifugal. These two type of forces are also called as real and pseudo. This is real force and this is pseudo force. Means this force has some cause, but this force do not have any type of cause. So what is the difference between centripetal and centrifugal force? It is as that of when we take a turn along the curved road, horizontal curved road. At that time, the frictional force between the road, surface of the road, and between the tire, that frictional force provides the centripetal force to perform the circular motion along the curved horizontal road. But when you are sitting in the bus or car, and when suddenly driver press the brake, at that time the person moves in the forward direction. At that time, that force which is exerted on the body of the passenger is the centrifugal force, means pseudo force. So this is the simple difference between the centripetal and centrifugal force. So how we can make the definition of centripetal and centrifugal force? It is very simple. This is centripetal force and this is centrifugal force. Means what? The force which is acting toward the center of the circle. When the force is acting toward the center of the circle, then it is centripetal force. The force which is acted away from the center, then it is called a centrifugal force. So what is the exact definition of the centripetal and centrifugal force? It is, see here, suppose this is particle P performing circular motion. The force acting on a particle performing circular motion. The force acting on a particle performing circular motion along the radius and directed toward the center of the circle is called as centripetal force. Toward the center, centripetal force. Then centrifugal force, the force acting on the particle performing circular motion directed along the radius away from the center is called as centrifugal force. See again, what is centripetal force? The force acting on the particle performing circular motion along the radius towards the center of the circle is called as centripetal force, and the force acting on the particle performing circular motion along the radius and directed away from the circle is called as centrifugal force. So in the next video we will go in the detail about the UCM and non-UCM, that is uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion, and their examples, and also in the detail of centripetal force. What is the definition of centripetal force? What is the expression of centripetal force? What is the formula of centripetal force? As well as unit, dimensions, and the applications of both centripetal and centrifugal force.